Syracuse up 18 at the half, 32-14 lead over the Binghamton Bearcats in its season opener to kick off the 2025-26 season. Welcome back into the Dome, Riley Underwood, Adam Avon here with you. Riley, Syracuse 32 points, a 10-0 run to kick off the game, but they probably could have scored a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, it was a hot start for Syracuse early. They were just blowing them out. But you got to hit your three-point shots. Both teams do a combined 2 for 20 between the Bearcats and the Orange. Shots just not falling.
And we're going to talk about the three-pointers in just a little bit. But the big man domination from Donnie Freeman and William Kyle. We saw Tyler Betsy get involved throughout the half. These bigger guys who brought the physicality early on. Nate George, because of the blocking of William Kyle and everything he's been able to do, really helped everybody out.
Yeah, and then the oop. Will Kyle finishes it off. He was doing it on both sides of the ball. And then J.J. Starling going out for an injury. We have not seen him return to the game. We saw him on the bench with the towel over his head. Not a good look. First game of the season, J.J. Starling going out.
Yeah, Starling has yet to return to the game. Sat out the majority of the first half after exiting. But Tyler Betsy and the rest of the crew, Riley, carried the load. Some of the transfers. Yeah, Nate George finding the oop to William Kyle. Both of these guys, the transfer getting involved. Binghamton tried to get things going, but ultimately Nate George just kept dominating.
Nate George, he has some fast hands, man. You got to see it firsthand here in the Dome. I mean, the defense was just suffocating. Good rebound, and then Donnie Freeman getting out and finishing in transition.
One of the biggest plays that got the Dome hype. This one as well. William Kyle showing the athleticism, jumping up above the defense. And this was the first three that Syracuse got. Tyler Betsy late in the first half got things going for the Orange. Continued their big 32-14 lead. And Riley, we talked about that three-point shooting for both teams. 1 for 12 for Syracuse. A lot of intensity, though, that you like to see from Syracuse in that first half. But if those shots kept falling, can't harp on it enough how bigger this lead would be.
And how about the pure shot volume that Syracuse is getting out? 14 more shots. Binghamton's only made 5 field goals.
Right.
I mean, Binghamton needs to get some points on the board. They're on pace to score 28 points.
Well,
I mean, plain and simple. You're coming into your first game of the season. You've got to start off hot, and they just haven't done that so far.
Well, they haven't done that so far because some of the intensity that Syracuse has brought, and we mentioned Donnie Freeman and William Kyle as well, 2 guys getting involved right now in that first half. Freeman early on, though, Riley, was exceptional. Down low, using his body, something that we haven't seen since the back half of last season because he was out due to injury, and then Kyle getting involved, stuff you love to see early on if you're a Syracuse fan.
I mean, Kyle and Freeman, these are 2 very athletic bigs. You might not find a more athletic big pairing in the ACC. William Kyle can jump with the best of them, and Donnie Freeman showing you that He can too, getting the crowd on its feet. These are 2 very talented bigs, and they started off they set the tone early for Syracuse.
They got a quarter of Syracuse's points, 8 and 6 for Freeman and Kyle respectively. 2 guys that have been dominating down low against the Binghamton team that really hasn't gotten anything going in the paint. And Sadiq White has yet to get started going too. Tyler Betsy's starting to get things going as well at the end of the half, making that first 3, Riley. And so you see the big men starting to finally get things going in an orange uniform, some of them for the first time. And speaking of for the first time, there might be a little bit of nerves right here in the building because Syracuse is having some trouble hitting those threes beyond the arc. It was an issue last year for Syracuse, and once again in that first half, started off with 10 missed threes until that Tyler Betsy one you saw in our highlights.
Yeah, 1 for 12 entering halftime for Syracuse. It's just not falling. I mean, air balls, unlike this Orange team, usually they shot it so hot against Buffalo, but they didn't shoot it so hot against Pace. And you can talk about that depth perception being in the Dome, but Syracuse practices in the Dome. They're used to this. That's understandable for Binghamton not to be. Don't get me wrong, they've had to looks. They just haven't been falling.
Donnie Freeman there missing the shot. Syracuse getting the opportunities and some wide open. We saw them in warm-ups. They can hit these shots. Syracuse hopes to do it after the half. We bring on a special guest right after the break. You don't want to miss it. Sean McDonough joins the set. Stay with us. All right, Syracuse up 32-14 at the half. The Binghamton Bearcats struggling to get things going on either side of the ball. Syracuse with some domination early on, and we bring on one of the more dominant Syracuse broadcasters of all time, ESPN broadcaster Sean McDonough. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure, Adam. Riley, good to see you guys.
Yeah, well, thanks for being here. And I know Syracuse basketball trying to get back to a place where it once was. Now they have a lot of new talent on the team this year. After your first half thoughts of this team, what do you expect?
Well, I think we're probably leading the country in scoring defense and field goal percentage defense right now, and maybe turnovers created. So, they're off to a good start. I was told by some of my friends who are here for the exhibition game against Pace that they didn't look very good. So, obviously they look better tonight. I'm encouraged. I think the one thing I noticed just being here and watching this team in person for the first time is definitely more athletic than some of the teams in the last couple of years, and it looks like they're a little deeper too.
Yeah, I think Syracuse probably one of the most athletic teams in the ACC on paper entering this year. Is there another ACC team that may be a little underrated that you could see making a run later on in the season?
I would have to make it up because I don't really follow it that closely anymore. I'll just blurt out a name. No, I'm kidding. I really don't know. I don't do the college basketball anymore, so most of my focus is on college football or hockey, so I pay attention to it as a fan, which is the fun part about being here tonight, Riley, because, as you know, you guys are prepared for this. I didn't have to do anything tonight. I didn't have to worry about names, numbers, storytelling.
You got to sit courtside. You got a good view of it.
I was part of an experiment. They have a app now, what do they call it, QR code, where you can order food at the fancy courtside seats. And John Wildhack wanted to test it out, so I got a hot dog, and it came in an instant, and it was a good hot dog. If you're coming to the Dome, I highly recommend them.
You're getting the full courtside treatment here. I mean, You're an alumni, they brought you back, you're sitting courtside. Syracuse football, though, also plays in the Dome, and they've been struggling this year. Fran Brown and company, a good year last year. You expect them to bounce back?
Not without a quarterback. It's a shame that Angeli got hurt because I think he's a really good, I know he's a really good player, and I think everybody saw that in the games that he played. And I was excited when he came here. I did the game at Notre Dame, the college football playoff semifinal against Penn State when he was at Notre Dame in the Orange Bowl, and he really turned that game around. He came in late in the first half and led them down the field. And so I was excited when he came here, and I'm excited to watch him play. But if you don't have a quarterback, you can't win in football. It's kind of like a goalie in hockey.
Well, you're here, you're sitting courtside at the Binghamton-Syracuse game, but I know that's not all you came for. You're for the Marty Glickman Awards tomorrow night. You're a past winner, so tell me a little bit about that and the festivities that'll be going on tomorrow.
Well, I was going to say I was a past winner because they ran out of deserving honorees like Marv Albert and Bob Costas and Mike Tirico. Actually, it was one of the great honors of my life because, when I came here as a student, you hoped someday when they list off all the great sports broadcasters who went here that they'd loop you in with Marv Albert and Bob Costas and Dick Stockton. Those guys were the reasons I came here. So now that you won an award that they picked the winner, the previous winners picked the winner. So Marv Albert thought I should win that award. That was awesome. So really proud of Matt Park, as you guys know, not just an excellent broadcaster, but Marty Glickman was a mentor and a broadcasting coach, and obviously with the teaching that Matt's doing at Newhouse, he's mentoring a lot of you guys and doing a great job with that. So I think all the former winners are going to be here, which is awesome.
Well, Sean, I got to ask you, because the Glickman Awards, you mentioned a lot of alumni coming back. I got to ask you, what were some of the most memories that you have, your favorite memories from when you were here as an up-and-coming broadcaster, maybe some of the mentors that you learned along the way?
Oh, yeah, well, that's one of the great things, and you guys are probably experiencing this already, Adam, that, the alumni are so generous with their time and so encouraging to the people who are coming after. I spent a couple hours at WAER today, and I had a great time, and it brought back a lot of memories. I remember Dick Stockton came and spoke to us at Newhouse one day, and I thought, oh my God, one day if I could just be anything like Dick Stockton, that would be so awesome. So I think it's important to all of us to come back, and here's how old I am. My freshman year on campus here, the first game in the Dome was my freshman year in 1980, yes. I'm still way younger than Coach Boeheim. Shout out to Jim and Julie. I know they're watching tonight. Yeah, Coach Boeheim's first year on campus in 1962 was the year I was born, so I'm infinitely younger and always will be.
So when you come back to Syracuse, is there any good spots you have to hit while you're in town?
You know what? I think the spots that I used to go to aren't there anymore. I walk around, I'm kind of depressed. But there's always, I always go to the varsity, right? You got to go to varsity, have a slice of pizza. They had the WAR Hall of Fame induction this past weekend. You and I couldn't be here because we were busy working. But they would send me a video and some pictures, because Greg Papa, who was a classmate of mine, a really dear friend, he was one of the honorees. So they were all at the varsity. So I texted them after we were done with our game, and I said, I want to buy you guys a pitcher. Well, I got the bill. It was more than one pitcher, I can promise you that, because I know that one of the great things about varsity, it's not that expensive.
Well, Sean, we can't thank you enough for taking the time to sit down with us. We know how important Syracuse is to you, and it should be a fun event tomorrow with the Marty Glickman Awards.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Great to see you guys. It's truly one of the greatest blessings in my life was having gone to school here and to retain the connection. So to be greeted so warmly here tonight was really cool.
All right, thank you so much for joining us. We'll be right back on our ACC Network halftime report. Syracuse up 18 over Binghamton at the half. Few final minutes here until we get back to action for the second half. Syracuse and Binghamton, and a fun first half, Riley, that was a little bit slow, got a little bit to get started, but Nathan George had to be one of the standouts from that first half.
Oh, definitely, without a doubt. And it's not just the scoring production, he does it on all facets of the ball. 4 steals from him in the first half, 4 assists. I mean, he has quick hands, great instincts. That's a guy you want handling the ball for you. Number 11 has been on fire in this first half, doing the little things.
I mean, he is quickly impressing the Syracuse fans that heard about this guy who was one of the top passers in the ACC, certainly making things easier for Donnie Freeman and company.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, that takes a weight off your shoulders. And the big men, Donnie Freeman and Will Kyle, they've been showing out early, but it's Nate George that really sets up those fast break opportunities for him and does the little things. I keep saying it's the little things, Adam.
Right, and with no J.J. Starling potentially in the second half, Nate George is going to continue to step up. We return you back to action courtside with Matt Park and Eric Devendorf. Enjoy the second half, and we'll see you later.